Wrestling with Wrestling's past and present.
How old were you?
I was -3.
See, JR is trying to contain Jim Ross.
McFlurry,
It's Mick Foley. Definitely not his, the barn burner that Leif Cassidy and Ty Riley Singh was, but, we'll leave that there.
We digress.
God, I hope that storyline ends soon.
And 6 to 8 weeks later, they mail you a freaking magnet.
Yep. You may know him as the Red Rooster.
Hager kept making out with his wife. It was weird. So then, I'm waiting for them to put the Zelina Vega on a pole match for that to be. It is in the mail, my good sir. Oh, it wasn't Paul. Giving us a reason to come here and listen to ourselves talk.
Absolutely,
and then you can listen to us too. We're off to a rough start.
This is a special bonus edition of Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present. I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Fuelis.
And I'm Mongo.
And today, it is Sunday, but we're providing you with our Royal Rumble 2021 predictions.
And mind you, we are recording this Saturday, so we have not seen the Fox FS1 backstage special to know who's where yet. I know they're going to reveal that later on tonight, so by the time this airs, people will know. So if we're off, we apologize ahead of time, but we wanted to give you guys a special show. Just giving us, we usually do our predictions especially for the big shows. We started our podcast off by comparing sometimes last year's show to what we thought was going to happen this year's show. So we couldn't just let Rumble season go by without giving you an episode. We were going to try to fit it into our 2011 show. We didn't have time. So here we are.
I mean, who doesn't like bonus content?
Bonus. And you don't have to pay for it. It's not like, other platforms where to get your bonus episodes, you have to pay for it. I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just saying we're giving you guys something for free here. So hopefully you guys like it. And again, it's three guys just shooting the shit about wrestling. So we're fans, lifelong fans. And, our opinions, we like to think that we're smart marks. So our opinions seem to matter. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, one of us gets it right. Yep. Like if you go back and look over our predictions and stuff, even some of the Rumble stuff, we've gotten a lot of that stuff right. Like, there was one pay-per-view, I missed one. Mm-hmm. Some of that is the WWE being predictable, but still, it makes you feel good when you're like, yeah, I nailed all those. I was right. And then sometimes when they surprise you and we're not right, hopefully it's a good surprise.
Yeah, if they can pull off a good swerve, usually that's good. Because not to sound arrogant, but kind of echo your point, it takes a lot to swerve. I think us because we do research on the internet, but I think we know the product well enough that you can kind of see where the seeds are going. Even for other storylines, you're like, oh, this is clearly setting up a match between these two people, and then it doesn't. You're like, that was a good one.
Yeah, very seldom do you say, like, oh, they got me. Yeah. Usually it's like, oh, I knew that was coming. Well, I mean, think I don't know if you guys both watched SmackDown last night, but the tail end of SmackDown, all these guys showing up, it's like, oh, it's going to be a 6-man. Oh, it's going to be a 10-man. Like they kept like you could tell it was so predictable as what was going to happen. But so one of the most unpredictable things though is the Rumble. No matter who people think the favorite is, that match is the easiest one for them to swerve you on. And I mean, we talked about it on our show, the 2011 Rumble. Nobody wanted to see Del Rio win. Nobody thought he was going to win, and he did. He won twice, for Christ's sakes. So, this is the easiest way for WWE to swerve us.
Absolutely. So we'll run down the card for you guys. We're going to start with Sasha Banks and Carmella for the SmackDown Women's Championship here. This is a feud that's been going on for, quite a few weeks now. I don't see them putting the belt on Carmella here. I don't think she's got enough momentum yet. So I'm going to go with Sasha Banks retaining here.
It should be a Reginald on the pole match, I think. I think he should be on the pole. But yeah, no, I totally agree. Not to sound like a homer, but I agree with Tim. I'm glad that Carmella's back because she is talented in the ring, but I don't even really like the character she's become as much as I think they thought it would work. It's almost like when they had Emma go away and come back as Emelina. It's a similar character thing. So like I get it, and I like that she's back. Like I said, she's a good performer in the ring. She helps. She brings the division up. And I just don't think she's quite there yet. Again, this is easily a match though that they could swerve us on, have Reginald get involved, and they could steal the title. But I also don't think that it's time yet, and I think Sasha's going to retain.
You hit the nail on the head with that Emelina reference because that's all I could think of when they were teasing Carmella coming back. is this is like a mix between Sable's weird gimmick from the early 2000s and Emelina's like reinvention. And I agree with Tim as well. She's not ready to hold the strap. It's going to be boss time. You know, I think Sasha Banks retaining, and if Reginald steals the belt for Carmella, I mean, I don't know, because her last title run was kind of lackluster, and I don't see her carrying the belt well, but I think she is a good performer.
Well, and I think if they do it that way, then it sets up a match at Mania too. Like they could do it that way if that's the way they wanted to go. I mean, it does depend on who wins the Women's Rumble and which direction they're going. So, like, again, this is an easy way for them to swerve us. Plus, they could always have the Elimination Chamber or whatever pay-per-view. They might put a roadblock somewhere in there. Who knows what they're going to do? They've done that before too, where they had to set up different pay-per-views. But yeah, to me, I don't see any way unless Reginald gets involved and they steal it. I don't see how Carmella wins clean.
Yeah, no, I agree. Next up is the tag team match for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Your champions are Asuka and Charlotte Flair. They're taking on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I think Asuka and Charlotte are going to retain here, and I think there's going to be some sort of dissension between Nia and Shayna. They've been kind of teasing some tension between the two, and I can kind of see this maybe as a blow-off here and maybe the end of the tag team.
Yeah, I mean, they were put together out of necessity for them to both be on TV, really, was the reason they were put together. They wanted them both to be on TV, and they didn't know what to do with them. And actually, quite honestly, the storyline itself wasn't the greatest, but together they were actually relatively good. I mean, I know Nia Jax is, Botchamania's favorite woman superstar, but I think that, it wasn't a terrible pairing. It's not, putting Peyton Royce with Ric Flair's new floozy. It's not that, Lacey Evans, Peyton Royce, just like, at least it's believable. The two, kind of badass chicks, like that's what they play off as. At Nia Jax is big bruiser, and she's a big girl, and Shayna's a MMA fighter or ex MMA fighter. So it's not like it's fire and ice per se. It's two people that should be together. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Tim. I think to me, I think the point of having Asuka and Charlotte be the champions is for them to eventually implode themselves too, where Charlotte, keeps. She already been hinting that she wants the Raw title. So like, I think that's part of the reason to keep them together, because a lot of times, you keep your friends close, your enemies closer, and I think that's what Charlotte's doing. So I think they retain also, for the record.
I think they retain, but yeah, this is definitely a match that looks like you both hit it perfectly, is to set up the dissension between both teams. Shayna Baszler, how the mighty have fallen. I mean, last year's Elimination Chamber, she was just dominant. Going into WrestleMania, where I thought she was going to go over against Becky, I got that one wrong. I thought they were going to put her over, and she didn't. And I like Shayna Baszler. I know she's not really popular with a lot of fans, but I like her style because she looks like someone, if I pissed her off, she's going to beat the living shit out of me. And good for her, because she could. She absolutely could. And Nia Jax, not really a fan, like you said, Botchamania's favorite person. I mean, I just watched her drop Dana Brooke on her head this week.
Yep.
And I just think she's still just too green, and she doesn't want to improve herself, my personal opinion. But I think that's another reason why they put her with someone, because I think Shayna Baszler's a good worker. So I think they're trying to help Nia Jax out in that way. Like, look, you need to work this way. And I hope Asuka finally goes over Charlotte when they finally have their blow off, because I'm sick of Charlotte going over Asuka.
Well, and not trying to slam Nia, but I think a lot of it is she feels she's entitled and doesn't have to, because of, she's related,
Right.
She's related to the right family, so the head of the table. And we'll get to him later. But I think that's some of it too, is that, she's always, she's a bigger girl, so she's always had people probably negatively talk about her. So I think her skin's probably thicker than a lot. So she just kind of like does her own thing, and whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. But she is at times incredibly unsafe in the ring. I'm surprised that they still, I think based on her, relationship, because she is the cousin of The Rock or whatnot, I think that's the only thing that's kept her going, because she is very unsafe. It seems like every match she's hurting somebody or close to hurting somebody, and it's too bad because she has a good look. Like I think she's not Awesome Kong by any means, but she could be. And Awesome Kong, for a bigger broad, being around as long as she had been. And again, sorry if I offended somebody with the word broad. I'm just saying she's a big broad lady. For any, if she could get to that level where she could have matches and still protect her opponents better, she could be a very believable, bruising heel. She could be a champion for a long time somewhere. if she got to that level of being able to have matches. But they're not going to keep putting people like Charlotte and Sasha and Bailey and stuff in matches with Nia. She's going to keep hurting them. It's just not going to happen.
Next up is the match that we're all excited about. It's for the WWE Championship. You have Drew McIntyre and Goldberg here. I don't know why they keep giving Goldberg these opportunities to be in title matches.
I like money, damn it.
Well, and that's the thing. I think he still has 3 matches left on his contract. So this will be one of them. I think he has 2 more after this, believe it or not. So we're going to see him at least 2 more times.
As much as it pains me to say this, I think there's going to be one title change on the show, and I don't see it with the next match that we're going to discuss. I think it would come here. I think they're going to do it, as much as I hate to say it, but I think Goldberg's going to become the new champion.
Yeah, we had talked a little bit before we went on air, and Mongo mentioned the Money in the Bank thing, so I'm not going to steal that thunder from Mongo. I'll let him talk about it because it was his thing. So, but yeah, I'm hoping that if you're right, Tim, that they do something to get the title off Goldberg quick. I don't see any scenario where it benefits the WWE to have Goldberg carry the title to WrestleMania again. I don't see it. And I don't see the point of having him fight for a title at WrestleMania. I don't see the point of having him fight for the title at Royal Rumble, but whatever, and whatever happened in this day and age, like they try to make it like rematches aren't automatic and all this crap. And like what did Goldberg do to get a title shot besides being like 60? Like he didn't do anything. He just came out and challenged Drew McIntyre. He didn't have a match there was no, other than supposedly disrespecting the old folks. Like that's what they're getting. He disrespected the legends. We never got to because the match ran long and we never heard the promo. So it's been a cluster from the beginning. And I'm going to pick Drew McIntyre only because I don't want Goldberg to win. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm going to say that, McIntyre retains. I don't know how. I'm hoping. And again, I could be totally wrong. I'm guessing with my heart here. I'm going to say Drew McIntyre.
I'm hoping Tim's wrong. No offense, Tim. And,
Me too.
I don't want
being a realist. He's like I don't want to be right. I'm just trying to be.
No, I know.
Damn it! Like he's just being a realist. I'm being a homer and picking McIntyre because I want to, not to cut you off. But he's as much as I don't want Goldberg to win. Tim doesn't either. But he's just picking him because he thinks that's what's going to happen. He doesn't like it.
I think unfortunately, like I have to go with my gut, and I think they're going to give it to Goldberg here. But I have this feeling there's a swerve coming. I think because they've been kind of teasing the Money in the Bank a little bit more, especially where he randomly got it back from Pierce. I think that Drew McIntyre, Goldberg, I think Drew McIntyre is going to beat down Goldberg, and Goldberg's going to steal the win, and crowd's going to be stunned. Well, I shouldn't say the crowd. The iPads are going to be stunned. And I think that there's a cash in here to take the strap and then maybe set up a pay-per-view next month and have McIntyre retained to go to WrestleMania. I don't know. I just feel like that's because there's rumors floating around about some, different finishes. Again, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope McIntyre wins. I don't want to see Goldberg with another belt, especially the WWE Championship. It's bad enough that they gave him the Universal Championship a few times. But I think that Miz cashes in and takes it from Goldberg after Goldberg shocks the world.
Well, and you made a good point that I forgot about too, is that he's never won the WWE Championship. So if he comes, that's one of the reasons why he came back. It was the only belt I haven't won. So I mean, I could see them doing it that way too. So I'm still not changing my pick because I refuse to pick Goldberg because I don't want to see him cripple the Undertaker again. So that's a good point though. He's never won that title. It's the one that he's left that he's missing for his collection. So, but yeah, I'm going with McIntyre for the record. I like how our picks are all different for this one. Like we all have different, and I'm only picking McIntyre because I just don't want to see Goldberg. So hopefully I end up being right. Hopefully in the order of the way this goes, I hope I'm right. And if I'm not right, I hope Mongo's right. And then if he's right,
then me, I'm last.
Only because you picked Goldberg, buddy. If I would have picked sad that I picked I just buried the Miz on the last show, more or less. It's sad that I picked the Miz over Goldberg.
But I think we can all agree we'd rather have the Miz. If it's not back time, we'd rather have the Miz than Goldberg.
Yeah, I get tired of WrestleMania season with Goldberg showing up every year and just stealing a spot from somebody that fucking deserves it. Excuse my language, but it irritates the hell out of me that Vince does this to people. There's people like Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, all these people that deserve it, that wrestle their asses off. And I know they don't wrestle as much as they used to with the pandemic and stuff, But for Goldberg to come back, get big money to wrestle show up 3 times and wrestle 1 match is bullshit. And for Vince to even think that's a good idea, and I know I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but that's the part that pisses me off, is that Vince doesn't realize no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit about Goldberg anymore. It was cool the first time. It was pretty cool the second time. The 15th time, no one gives a shit. No one cares. So that's what Vince needs to realize. I'm hoping that he'll either go senile soon and they'll put him in a home or something, because something needs to change. Because next year at WrestleMania and Rumble, I don't want Goldberg to show up again and be like, I'm here to challenge you, the Fiend, or whoever the fuck the champion is then, and just show up and ruin somebody's push to WrestleMania. Because that's all he's doing. He's ruining someone's chance to go to WrestleMania and taking a spot he doesn't deserve anymore. If it was 10, 12, 15 years ago, yeah, give it to him. But right now, and I know, like I said, I went on tangent. That's how I feel. Yeah, I red ass Roland here.
That's a passion right there.
Well, no, and that's the point that I'm trying to make here, is that we're passionate fans, and that's the thing that irks the shit out of me, is that that Vince think this is a good idea, and it's he has to have everybody around him telling him how terrible this idea is, but he's like, nope, we're doing it, and I feel bad for people like Bruce Pritchard, and even people like Shane's out of the company again, from what I heard. Supposedly he has, from a thing I read, that he has no stroke backstage anymore. So it's Vince just doing whatever the hell he wants to do. And there has to be people back there that just don't have the balls to stand up to Vince and say, this is a terrible idea.
I mean, you said Bruce Pritchard, but I love Bruce Pritchard. I love the podcast, but he's a yes man. So unfortunately, he doesn't want to lose his position either. I don't blame him. And the way you feel about Oberg, I feel the same way. And I feel that about Brock Lesnar too. Every time Brock Lesnar comes back and gets a strap, it's like, yeah, it was cool the first time, but not the 30th time, not the 40th time. Right. Not you going to WrestleMania 6 times against Roman Reigns and winning all 6 times.
Yeah, but I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're all passionate about it. And, I gave Tim crap for picking Goldberg, but it's not like Tim's really going with his heart here. So I got to at least kind of give him credit for that.
No, and
Tim's going with his brain, not his heart. So let's just go with
that. Right. Tim channeled his inner Vince McMahon. That's what he did. And he was like, I'm going to pick Goldberg because that's what Vince would do. And it's not 1999 anymore. It's not. It's not 2005. It's 2021, and Goldberg is pushing 60. And don't get me wrong, he's in great shape. He's a hell of an athlete for his age, but he's literally not even a part-timer. He's like a 3-timer. Mm-hmm. That's it. All right, move on. I'm done. I don't want to keep talking about it. You got too much of my time on the show to begin with.
Next up is the last man standing match for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns is the champion with Paul Heyman going against my boy Kevin Owens. I would love for them to put the belt on Kevin Owens here. I think Kevin Owens would make a great champion. I think he could carry the company. That's my probably biased opinion. But I don't see it happening here. So I got to go with my head again and not my heart. And I'm going to pick Roman to retain. I think they have a good thing going with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman as the champion, the head of the table gimmick. And I think they're going to ride that to at least WrestleMania. So I think Roman's going to retain here.
Well, and there's rumors that they're trying to get Roman versus The Rock for WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. That being said, does The Rock show up tonight or tomorrow night? Or, I know we're releasing this. Does he show up at the Rumble? I mean, probably not. It would be cool if he did and maybe either helped. To me, the best way to do this, and if I'm going to play Booker, the best way to do this is The Rock to show up, help Roman retain, and then there's dissension because Roman's supposed to be the head, but then The Rock shows up to be like, no, you're not. I had to save your ass. And that's how they do it. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. My heart, again, I would love to. That's the way they should do it. If they're going to have Rock and Roman at WrestleMania, I know there's rumors that it may happen, it may not happen. It probably won't. But I mean, if it does, that's how you do it. In this match, they've done such a good job at making it personal. The promo they had Friday night on SmackDown was fire, absolute fire. One of the best. Since Roman's come back, he's been the best version of Roman Reigns ever. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that's from Paul Heyman partially, because Roman's wanted to be heel for a while too. So he's probably got this pent up, well, I'm going to, show the world I can be a badass heel. And he's also a badass, but he's a chicken shit heel at the same time. So it's a good dynamic. It's hard for me to pick Kevin Owens in this match. I think that they have such a good thing going with Roman that Roman has to win. Now, I only threw the Rock stuff in there just in case it does happen. I can be like, told you, but I honestly think somehow Roman will. I would imagine Jey Uso, Jimmy might be healthy now too. I don't know. It might be a cluster where they have to get involved and keep Kevin Owens down or whatever. But I also unfortunately don't see Kevin Owens winning the match. Only because Roman's so hot as a heel right now. You probably want him to carry the title to WrestleMania. So I think Roman's going to retain somehow.
This is hard for me because I am with Tim. I am a Kevin Owens mark. I want KO Mania, baby. Like I don't know. Like, I heard the same rumors you did about The Rock, but I'm also hearing them. I shouldn't say I'm hearing. It's not like I have inside sources. I'm also reading them that it could be even Hollywood next year. But now I have friends who live in Tampa and told me that they actually have a chance to go to WrestleMania because they're going to let in about 22,000 for the Super Bowl. So they're thinking that they could probably do the same amount, if not a little less, for WrestleMania. So that's the big plan. So I think if there's fans in attendance, they're going to want something special because they don't want to repeat last year. And it's not like they did anything wrong anyway. I mean, given the world's circumstances, they did the best they could. And I think it's 2 nights again this year, isn't it?
Yes.
So, I mean, if they do 2 nights and they have, say, 10,000 fans each night, I think it'll still be a better product. I think Kevin Owens somehow pulls off victory, and I think a little opposite of you, Rowan. I think that if The Rock comes back, but I think he screws Roman Reigns, saying, "You ain't the head of the family. I'm the head of the table. Like this ain't you. This is me." And he's like, "Don't disrespect my dad. Don't disrespect High Chief Peter Maivia." I think, and it makes sense because Rock's got a new show he wants to promote, The Young Rock, coming on TV. That's all about family, so it's almost like it could be teasing it. And then again, we both could be wrong. Rock never even shows up. Roman goes over with some shenanigans from the Usos, but I think Owens. I think I got to be the one who disagrees and says I think Owen wins. And if Owens wins, it's because Drew McIntyre wins. If the shenanigans goes down, like I said with Goldberg and The Miz, then Roman wins with shenanigans. Because like you said, this is the best Roman's been ever in his career. I hated Roman Reigns, the character, for the longest time. I always thought he was a decent wrestler, but now his heel gimmick is fantastic.
Well, and then you have to wonder too, if Owens does win, does the Miz cash in? Is there a situation where he somehow steals the belt too? So like I said, this whole pay-per-view is setting up to be swervy. And I hope they do, because I want to be excited that way, So it just makes. And a side note, I don't know if you guys saw it. I'm sure you probably did. Did you see the truck that he gave to Harvey Whippleman?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
that
awesome.
was so cool. And I didn't realize that The Rock actually lived with him when he was 15, when he got kicked out of Hawaii. So like the story behind it was cool. So I mean, The Rock, stand up dude. He really is. He's become such a great. I mean, he was when he was in WWE, he was the same way, but people now are seeing on a grander scale how good, kind-hearted, and how good of a person Dwayne Johnson is. And it would be a cool story if he came back. And again, that's some of my heart that I hope he does come back for. But I mean, this is a perfect storyline for it, and I think the only reason he would get involved, if he does get involved, to save the title is because that's what they want to fight for, to prove who the head of the table is. That's my only thought. But yeah, I never really thought of it. He could screw him too. You're right. I mean, hopefully they do. Hopefully they surprise us,
Absolutely. Now we get into the Royal Rumble matches. We'll talk about the women's Royal Rumble match first. Only 13 of the 30 entrants have been announced as of our recording. On Saturday. We'll run down them real quick. You have Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Peyton Royce, Alexa Bliss, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Tamina, and Natalya. These are always really hard to predict. You never know, like the swerve factor. We don't know. There's half the contestants we don't even know who there's going to be.
Right.
But if I had to pick one, I think the hottest one they have going right now is Alexa Bliss, with the whole gimmick with the Fiend and everything like that. I think she's got the most momentum going on, and I think she could benefit from having a title match at WrestleMania. So I'm gonna go with Alexa Bliss to win the Women's Royal Rumble.
Well, and they've already teased a little bit of Alexa and Asuka, so that would make a lot of sense. I'm going off the page here, and I'm going to say that Becky Lynch comes back and wins the Royal Rumble. I don't know how true that's going to be, but Mongo's flipping out because I think that was his pick. But
you stole one of my surprises. Yeah.
I think she comes back and wins it only so she can try to reclaim that title that she never lost.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought. And sorry if I stole your pick, Mongo, but that's what I think is going to happen. Will it happen? She may not even be in it. We don't know. Hopefully she is. But that's my again, my heart thinking. But Tim, you made a good point. But yeah, I'm going with Becky Lynch being a surprise entrant and winning the Rumble and going on to face whoever the Raw champion is to get her belt back. Hopefully it's Asuka, because that would make sense. But you don't know if they're going to do something different with Asuka and Charlotte too. So I could be totally off base. She may not even be in the damn thing. But that's who I'm going with.
So I didn't have her as the winner, but I definitely had her coming back. I think I have two surprises. I think Rousey and Lynch come back, and I think Rousey and Lynch somehow limit each other. I think they're setting up a match for each other, a rematch from WrestleMania.
That's good. That's actually really good.
And I think the winner is the EST. I think Bianca Belair is winning the Women's Royal Rumble. I don't know. I just feel like they've been really pushing her to the moon, and she's talented. And I think she's going to kind of have like the Naomi spot from a few years ago. She's going to do something super. They've been teasing it with this like little feud with Bayley, or I could be wrong and Bayley throws her out. But I still think it's Bianca Belair, and I think Rousey and Lynch come back to surprise.
And Bayley just lost. Bayley just lost to her on SmackDown. So I mean, she's on fire right now. And if I was going to pick anybody, the two people you picked were the two that I would pick that I'd want to see win based on what's been going on.
Mm-hmm. So
you guys nailed it. And like I said, I'm hopeful that, something different happens. And even, if I'm wrong, that, like Mongo said, those two should probably be in it. There's been rumors that Ronda's coming back. So hopefully that does happen.
And then last but not least is the Men's Royal Rumble match. We know 21 of the 30 participants so far. We have Daniel Bryan, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Otis, The Miz, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Shinsuke Nakamura, Big E, John Morrison, Sheamus, Mustafa Ali, Edge, King Corbin, Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, and Braun Strowman.
That's Mustafa Ali.
Oh, that's right. It's Mustafa now. This one is really hard for me to pick because there's a lot of guys with a lot of momentum. You have Braun Strowman just coming back. They're pushing Sheamus. They're pushing Cesaro.
AJ. They're pushing AJ on Raw hard.
Pushing AJ. I think but my gut, and I don't really have a good reasoning for this, but just a gut feeling, I'm going to go with Sheamus here because they're teasing the alliance with Drew McIntyre lately as friends and everything. So they could be setting something up for WrestleMania that obviously depends on the title match between him and Goldberg. But I just have a gut feeling about Sheamus here.
That's not a bad pick, and especially the way they added Sheamus to that 10-man, the way he came out, to give him his own kind of pop thing last night on SmackDown was kind of neat. I, like you said, this is probably the hardest one to predict. And if I'm going to go with my heart, I'm going to say Edge wins, but I don't think he's going to win. Only because Mongo's upset because I took his thing again. But no, I don't think he. I don't think, if I'm going with my heart, I want to say Edge is going to win, but I don't think he's going to win. I think you need to further other storylines, and I don't know which one they want to further more. Like Tim was saying, the Sheamus thing. Again, if I'm going to pick someone, and I'm just going to go on a limb here, I'm going to say AJ wins it. I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to say, I my heart wants Edge to win, but I think AJ, they've been pushing him hard, and I think he's going to win it. I don't know what's going to happen, where he's going to go to champ, but I'm going to pick AJ.
Solid pick. You actually did take my pick this time. I was picking Edge because I feel like somehow
my heart wants me to take him.
I know. See, that's the thing. I just have this feeling of, especially the way he declared. I just, he got hurt at Backlash. I feel like he's going to get his WrestleMania moment that they were kind of building up to. I know he had a great match with Randy Orton last year that, all over the arena match, essentially. My heart also says Edge. I think Seth Rollins comes back in this one. I think he's going to return. I think Jay White, who was in Ring of Honor, is making his big debut a la AJ. And if Jay White makes his debut, I think he takes out AJ because they were both feuding in the Bullet Club. I know you guys don't really watch too much Ring of Honor, but Jay White, Switchblade, whatever you want to call him, was huge in the Bullet Club. And when AJ left, he basically trashed him all over the internet. So what better way to set up a money feud at WrestleMania for AJ than that? So that's why I think my head says AJ wins because I don't think Jay White's coming because, who knows. My heart says Edge. I got to go with Edge. I think he's just going to get that WrestleMania moment. Sheamus is a solid pick too. I didn't even think of that, but you're right. I mean, talk about a guy who's had the Quentino career. He came in winning the title, then gets to the Rumble. So I mean, his career's been all over the place in a good way. I could easily see any of the picks you guys made winning too. I can see AJ, I can see Sheamus, I can see Daniel Bryan. You know, there's so many. This match is so hard, but I'm going to say Edge. I'm going to stop talking. I'll say Edge.
They've done such a good job this year of making it more unpredictable than ever. They've pushed so many believable guys, and I will say that's one thing they did this year was you can believe, you know, Drew McIntyre, you can believe him in the Goldberg thing. Like, it's so many things. Even, you know, Daniel Bryan winning the Rumble, AJ. They've made it so that way. This pay-per-view is so uncertain. I will give them that, and I don't know if that's because there's no fans to like tell everybody what's going on. Like, you're not having you know, house shows and stuff. I don't know if that's making it easier for them, but I feel like this is the first pay-per-view in a while where I feel like we can be swerved in every match.
Agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are our predictions for the Royal Rumble that comes your way tonight. If you're listening to we're going to post this tomorrow morning. We're recording this on Saturday, so the predictions for tonight. We'll see how right or wrong. We'll give you a quick recap next week when we're back to our regular scheduled programming next Saturday at 5, where we're covering ECW double tables from 1995. So everybody take care. Have a great week. We'll be back on Saturday. I hope you enjoyed this very special edition. And until next week, I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Fulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And this is Wrestling with Wrestling Past and Present.
I hope you're all having a nice day.